Okay, I am really excited to talk to you a little bit about chicken. People just live for those rotisserie chickens now that you can get in the grocery store. And if you get them from Costco, I think that's actually one of the things that's a really good deal from Costco. Costco sells these big, 6-pound chickens with a lot of meat on them for $5. The organic store I was just in had these little 4-pound chickens for $9, which is just ridiculous. But there are a million things you can do with cooked chicken meat. So I want to show you how to cook some chicken meat a little more cheaply than buying a pre-roasted rotisserie chicken and without roasting a whole chicken. We can roast a whole chicken, we'll do that later, but sometimes you just need some cheap chicken meat. You could put this in chicken fried rice, you could put it in chicken salad, in soups, in sandwiches, any number of different things. So I'm going to do this with the thighs. Chicken thighs are really good and they're cheap. They're the part of the chicken that people want the least. So you can really benefit from the fact that they're kind of leftovers from the rest of the bird. They're usually sold in these packages. This is the cheapest cut of chicken that I got here. So these chicken thighs came with skin on, which is often the way chicken thighs come. And you're just going to have to learn to be a little less squeamish about taking this stuff off. You don't want to pay for skin and bones if you can avoid it, because obviously you're not going to eat that part. But if this is the cheapest bit of chicken you can get and then you can cook it and it's perfectly fine, then get it. Take the skin off. Not really for health reasons so much for me, because I don't mind chicken fat and chicken skin. In fact, I like them. But just because we're not going to need them for this, which is just to make cooked chicken to have in the fridge. This one doesn't have a skin on it. God only knows why. I'm going to take the skin off the rest. Okay, so the skin comes right off. There's little layers of fat underneath the skin that's attached to the chicken. If I wanted to, I could get a knife and clean those off, but I don't care that much. They're going to melt pretty much while this is cooking, and they'll help flavor the meat, so that's okay. I'm not going to end up with really fatty chicken, don't think that. And I'm going to have to take it off the bone anyway, so I can clean it up when I take it off. These chicken thighs have a lot more flavor than the breast meat, so if you're thinking about like buying a breast, it's more expensive, but it also doesn't have that much flavor. So if you really want to be satisfied with what you're cooking, you really want to use chicken thighs. Got my trusty grapeseed oil out again. Of course, I use this for greasing up everything. I'm just going to pour a little on the chicken. I'm putting this on a cookie sheet. You could put it in a skillet, anything that's good to go in the oven. I'll just say, a skillet like this you can put in the oven that has a metal handle. Don't put anything with a plastic handle in the oven. If it is not metal, it has to be silicone. And if you don't know if it's silicone, don't put it in the oven. Almost everything else will melt and burn. We're going to talk more about that later on, but that is perfectly fine for baking chicken in the oven too. I'm just putting it on a sheet also so that you can see it. I'm going to put a little salt and pepper on it. Doesn't matter how much. That's my pepper. A little bit of salt. Don't be afraid of salt either. Everybody's all afraid of salt. The processed packaged food that you eat has a ton of salt in it. When you cook, you have to put salt in. You're not going to even put in a quarter of what's in the processed food, I promise you. But it's not going to taste that great if you don't add the salt. So that's it, right? Slightly greased chicken meat on a pan with a little seasoning. And it's going to go into a hot oven, about 375, and we're going to bake it for like 45 minutes and then we're going to check it again. That's really all there is to this. 375 is kind of a medium temperature for cooking almost anything. If you're going to do it hotter than that, that's fine, but then you're going to have to check it more often. It's got to reach an internal temperature of 165, and I'm going to show you how to check for that. But it really doesn't matter what temperature you roast at, how quickly or how slowly you roast it or you bake it. It's really kind of up to you. How much do you want to watch it? Okay, here's my chicken thighs, and I said I was going to tell you how to tell when they're done. There's two ways to tell. One is to get an instant read thermometer like this that will tell you the temperature of the meat. I don't even know what this is. I guess this belonged to my husband. And you just stick it somewhere in the meat, not up against a bone. And you can see that this meat is plenty done. Remember I said it had to get to 165? This is like well up past that. And chicken thighs will forgive you. This really shouldn't be this hot. I probably should have stopped cooking this. I cooked these for about 40 minutes at 375. That's probably too much. Next time I'll cook them for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then check the temperature. The other way you can tell if they're done is when you poke something in and then the juices that come out are clear. Now you don't want to be poking a bunch of holes in your meat and letting all the juices out, because then your meat's going to be really dry and kind of nasty when you go to eat it. But if you do poke a hole, the juices that run out are clear, that meat is done. All I'm going to do with that chicken is let it cool. I'm going to rip it up, take it off the bone, let it cool completely before I put it in the fridge, and then I've got cold chicken I can put in almost anything. Really super easy, and you could do a whole big batch at once. Just depends on how many pieces of chicken you can fit on a skillet or a pan, or how many pans your oven will hold.